Hello, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Janie Samuels. Both Steve Etlinger and I are the recipients of a gold medal winner offered by Ossam Gallery. The paintings are mine, and the sculptures are, for those of you who are not familiar with Steve's work, the sculptures are of Steve's. The paintings range from 1992 up through 2021. Steve's sculpture is from 2013, is that correct? Up to now. He has made the bulk of his sculpture in Maine, and he will describe his process shortly. My work is primarily oil on canvas, although there are several pastels here and photo gel transfers, which I will describe in more detail shortly. Go to each one of us, we had a large family, and ask us what we had done to help the world that day. And ultimately, that's, when you look at my work, it is all about social justice or social issues in one regard or another.
Can you tell us about this painting in particular?
This painting, it originated, I have taken a lot of my work from images from the New York Times. I would periodically go through, and I have piles of images spanning from the early 1990s. This is from an immigrant from Somalia in the early 1990s.
Okay, thank you. Now, you have another early painting here that's not a refugee.
Now this was, I also did a series of paintings questioning beauty in advertising and how women were presented. And this was from an ad with Isabella Rossellini, whom I adored because she was both really strong and really gorgeous and had a huge personality. But ultimately it's questioning how women are identified and how they're perceived.
Okay. All right. Now, we're going to go over to some other paintings here that are a little different. And I'm going to zoom in if I can.
Now, this is the most recent work I've done. I just finished it a month ago. It's from 2021. But we'll see as we move throughout the show that I've worked with this image for the past 10 years. I've been haunted by it. It's another refugee painting, and frankly, I've forgotten what the origins are, except that it's refugees waiting to be moved. You'll see that what is consistent in the majority of the work is the vibrant colors. This is the only painting you're going to find here that incorporates black. All the other paintings, there is no black in the paintings whatsoever. The work is all about color. And I try to use line as a way of creating movement and moving you throughout the work, also as a means of reaffirming the flatness of the canvas. And then I use color as a way of creating volume and emotional content, and also to help you move around. And that is consistent throughout. And you'll find in each painting I'm using line and color in a slightly different way to achieve the same things.
All right, here we are on another picture.
Okay, this one is relatively old. This is from another article from the Times. This was during the breakup of Yugoslavia when the refugees were hiding outside of Sarajevo. And again, you'll see that I'm playing, my paintings are all really formal. They all have to do with speaking to the edge of the canvas and how to move your eye throughout the canvas. You'll also see that the faces and all of them are extremely well delineated. The importance is that you see the humanity in all these people. I don't want them to be anonymous people. I want them to be your neighbor or your child, your parent, so that you understand the real tragedy of what's happening and what we see as generic battles and something from afar. I mean, this is a family that, is living in a cave in hiding.
This is very different.
Now, this is another comment, but it's not one that's as politically difficult. It's called the Bali Beach Boys. And you'll see that a lot of the work that I do, even when it's in a beach kind of environment, I'm trying to incorporate a variety of ethnicities and a variety of cultures or sexual preferences. And interestingly enough, I realized after making this painting how similar it was to the picnic painting.
The picnic painting?
Yes, with where you've got the characters.
Oh, you mean by Renoir?
Yes. It's got a
I was
very,
looking for one of your picnic
no,
paintings.
it's got a very, very similar structure, and it's probably in part what drew me to it. And you'll again see where I'm trying to throughout. I'm trying to play with the canvas and playing with color and moving you forward and moving you back, and I'm creating a lot of abstract shapes within the figuration.
I'm very drawn to the strong diagonal from the guy in front, from his thigh up to the left.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm trying to push. You've got the reds and the greens. I'm trying to push you back and push you forward and push you back. And then of course you've got a Muslim woman sitting there on the beach as well. Again, it's an opportunity for me to try to reaffirm the humanity and that we're all people. We all hang out on the beach.
Right. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, a little different.
Okay, and this is actually of my children in the playground. So this is one of my photographs. But part of what inspired me to make this is on one hand, it's somewhat of a sexy painting. On the other hand, it's kids playing in a playground. The idea that what is sexual and what's innocent.
Okay. Back to the beach or a playground?
Yeah, here's the beach again, and this is Coney Island. It's called Coney Island Getaway. And this is also from a photograph I took with my son. This is a Russian refugee on the left, or Eastern European. He didn't speak any English. And it's his mother in the back watching through. Again, you can see where I'm playing with a lot of abstract ideas and with line and with color. And yet, I'm reminding you of the individuality of the people that are there. You've also got a Pakistani woman on the upper left. Again, embracing the multi-ethnicity of what New York is and Coney Island.
Excellent. Now, this is very different.
Now, this is.
And I might add, we laid this out as a show, not as a retrospective, so that's why it's a little jumpy.
Yeah, and I think, I'm wondering, this needs to fall back a little bit. These are from glass samples, and these groups of work, although they look very different, are a process that I've been working with for probably the past 5 or 6 years. They're photogel transfers.
Photogel transfer, you want to explain how that works a little bit?
And what I've taken, the images that are in the center that are on glass, or with the exception of the photograph in the center, which is a photograph I took, those are all details from my paintings. Again, trying to show the relationship historically between my interest in the individual in a broader way. Now, what a photogel transfer is I take images for the most part, I manipulate them in the computer in Photoshop, I print them, I apply a gel medium to the images on the left and right are on panels, the ones in the center are on glass. Then I apply the image face down, and I peel the paper away.
And these are glass samples, so there's different textures. I can try to capture, because the light reflects tremendously differently depending on where you are.
And I love the I love the idea that there are people that you have to work at to see that there's, it's an emotional subject matter. So I love it becomes the fact that they're samples and that they're layered gives it texture.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about these two on the left?
The one on the top is from a drawing of mine, so that actually was one of my works. And the one on the bottom are images of gypsies in Paris, actually, right outside of the Beaubourg.
Let me see if I can try to. It doesn't show up all that well, but there you go.
Sorry, because the shadow of your camera's in it.
Yeah. And then here's the one from the photograph of the beach. Okay.
So now on to this next one. This again, this is from a photograph of women right after 9/11. So it's from, I don't think there's much to add to that.
Right. Grieving.
But again, you can, and one thing I haven't mentioned is that when I'm painting, I think of music, I think of rhythm.
Oh.
All the paintings, I am thinking about how to move you through, how quickly to move you through, how to get you to slow 21, where I had said that I'd been working on the image for many years. The one on the top is a drawing that I did the drawing, I scanned it in the computer, I played it in the computer, I printed it out, I drew on it again, I scanned it again. So there are many back and forth relationships with it, where it's part photo, it's part computer generated, and then part done by hand.
And what would you say the media is for this?
Most of what you're seeing is pencil on paper, but the flat areas and some of the areas would be in iris print. The piece on the bottom is a glass, is another gel transfer, but in this case it's gel transfer of the immigrant painting in detail coming across. This was the study that I did for that painting from 2020.
It's just wonderful. Now these look very different.
Okay, these for the most part are, they're works where I did a drawing, again, like I described the immigrant drawing there. I did a drawing, I scanned it into the computer, I worked on it in the computer, I printed it out on drawing paper, and then drew on it again. So the one in the center is almost entirely a drawing. I just did that once, and then did it one run through, and then most of that is pencil on paper. The ones on either side have very little pencil in it. It's mostly computer generated after I'd scanned the drawing back in the computer again. So they're prints. This was an image from the Times and I don't know from when. I don't really have much to add. Again, I don't have much to add.
Okay.
This particular case, I chose to obviously just have the flesh be in charcoal and then have the color pop in the clothing.
All right.
These two are more photo gel transfers on panels, both of Subway musicians. And those are fairly recent. The photo gel transfers, once I apply the gel transfer and I strip the paper away, I then paint an oil on top. So they're all unique. We're getting to the end here. This is from a photograph that I took at a country fair. And this is there's a period, there were several pieces that I did where I wanted the drawing to be much looser. And that's from that period. Unlike the other canvases that you saw where every line was defined, I meant to have this bounce around a little bit more.
Just the one on the right or all
Just
three?
The one on the right and the one in the middle. The one in the middle is a little bit more formal. It's halfway in between.
Uh-huh.
And then the one on the left is also a really quick study because I love how alive they feel when you haven't overworked anything. So really fast.
And here we come to the end.
And this is like the other ones we described. This is from another image from the Times. This was actually from a movie advertisement on Rwanda. So they set it up for me.
Huh. Now, where do you see yourself going in the future, just to wrap up here?
I think that's a really good question. I think I recently am loving the photogel transfers on glass. So I think the next work I'm going to do is are going to be glass pieces. But I'll incorporate a lot of the same subject matter, and in many cases, I'll do what I did with the faces back there. I'll include images that I've made, and I'll rework them and start layering them.
Okay, well, Janie, thank you. That's a wonderful explanation of this very wonderful display of your work.
Thank you for having me.
To be continued.
Absolutely.